But you need to tell me what the problem is. Get up, Kurt. Come on. We got test tomorrow. Come get me one.
Wait, problems on the quiz or on the practice test?
Quiz first. We'll start with the quiz. You need to tell me what the problem is because I'll put
Find
it
sine 4 pi over 3.
All right. This is not just one question on the test. There's like 4 or 5 of these. All right. Look at the practice test. There's a bunch of these on there, a whole section. So what do we do first when we have to find the sine of 4 pi over 3?
Make it a degree.
We make it a degree. So that's going to be the sine of 180 divided by 3 is 60 times 4 is 240. So then we draw a picture. We remember 0, 90, 180, 270. So 240 is going to be down here, right? Okay, we're looking around for something. It's on top of the refrigerator under the tree.
It's jammed.
It's jammed.
That's unfortunate.
What's jammed?
No, I don't. Here, bring me your pencil. I got one up here. Somebody broke my pencil sharpener. That's awesome.
I think it's just like lead jammed.
Yeah, there's a piece of lead that's stuck in the bottom. You can get it out like if you like.
That's what I said.
Oh no.
All right. Now, 240. How big is this angle right here?
60.
That's a 60. So then we can label the sides of our triangle, right? But what do we always have to remember when we do that?
Negative.
Something is going to be negative. If I am not in quadrant 1, something is going to be negative. What is negative in this problem?
Root 3.
Not just the root 3, but also the 1. They're both negative.
Why is it? Oh, never mind.
Yeah. It's like a cat, dude. It's like arches his back.
I don't know what the fuck songs like that.
Alright, so what's the answer?
It's actually a good kind of
What
What's
happened?
the answer?
Negative root 3 over 2.
These are both negative, so the sign is negative root 3 over 2. I can't even remember who asked me that question, but you have it now?
Yeah.
Alright, everybody had a question on your quiz like that. The practice, or the test is going to have 4 or 5 or 6 of them like that. Okay, Robbie?
I have a question on number 3.
What does it say?
It says find cosine, and then it's a triangle. These are kind of short.
That's real.
I don't get how you.
Alright, so we have to find, this is what we're given, and our job is to find cosine theta. So, what is cosine? Adjacent over hypotenuse, right? Shoot, I don't know my hypotenuse. So what am I going to have to do?
Squared plus 3 squared.
I'm going to do 3 squared plus 6 squared equals c squared. So 9 plus 36. So that's 45. So c is going to be the square root of 45, which I will break down into 3 root 5, because this is 9 times 5, so it's 3 root 5. Now I can do my cosine. My cosine is adjacent over hypotenuse, which is 1 over root 5 or root 5 over root 5. Now, you could not find the angle without your calculator, but you could find the cosine because it's just the two sides.
Oh, I thought there was an angle.
So that's not what it says. It says find the cosine. Right? All right, anybody else have a question about when it comes to Shawnee?
For my number 5, it says find the exact tan of 5 pi over 6.
Okay, that is exactly the same problem we just did right here. We're finding the tangent of 5 pi over 6. So what are the steps that we go through? pi is 180, divided by 6 is 30, times 5, 150. And then we draw our triangle in the right spot, which would be right here, 150.
Okay.
So this angle would be 30, because you're going from 150 down to 180. And that's 1 root 3, 2. And then you stand back and say, oh, looks like that guy's going to be negative.
So 1 over negative root 3, negative root 3
So
over
the
3.
tangent would be 1 over negative root 3 or negative root 3 over 3. Yep. Yep.
Oh.
So you have it.
I kept stopping. Okay.
All right. Marley?
I have a question on the problem you did before, the sine 240.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 240.
Yep.
Why would the triangle be in the third quadrant?
It was. Now this one's not, because this is 150. But I had it drawn down there in the third quadrant.
Okay.
Because these were both negative, remember?
Yeah.
Yeah. Jonathan?
The other one just has a special tangent and then parentheses, it's negative 1 over root 3.
Okay, so you have to find the angle whose tangent is negative 1 over root 3. Now, obviously, we could type that into our calculator, but here we're doing it without a calculator. So we're looking over here, because we know that's what this means. There are rules for that. We're over here in this area. Since it's a negative number, we know it's down here, because negatives can't be in quadrant 1. Tangent is opposite over adjacent. I recognize those numbers. This is a 2. How big is that angle right there? Across from the 1. 30. But the answer isn't positive 30. You're going down, so the answer is negative 30. Negative 30 degrees. Positive 30 would put you in quadrant 1. Go negative 30. Put your hand up, Marlon. And anybody else from the quiz?
For cosine, you're on the top, would the left quadrant be negative?
Yep.
Your answer?
Yep. All right, quiz good?
Yes.
All right, let's get our practice test out. No, tangent and sine are like that. Cosine goes over the top. Just cosine goes over the top. All right, so if I kept accurate records, are we ready on pretest? Oh, no, I didn't. That's not you. On pretest number 3. What are we ready for? I don't
Number
know.
5.
The whole thing? Start with number 5?
Pretest number 3, number 5.
You're ready for number 5. Okay, good. Good, because number 5 is that section on the test that some of you have asked a couple questions about. So this is good that we're reviewing this right now. Question number 5 says, okay, 5A, this is another special tangent. So I'm going to draw my picture over here, because that's where I draw special tangents. If I'm doing them without a calculator, this is where I draw them. That's a positive number, right? That's a positive number, so that's going to be in quadrant 1.
Quad 1.
Now think of the tangent as a fraction. 1 is like 1 over 1. So opposite and adjacent is 1, which means hypotenuse is root 2. And the angle is 45. And this is positive 45 because we're going up. The last one we did, it was negative something because we were going down. That is a positive 45-degree angle. So then the next one. There's no negative in this problem. That's the notation. This is the notation. That's not a negative. So we want, this one has a negative number. It's a cosine, which means I can draw my pictures up on top somewhere. Since it's a negative, it's going to be over here. You can't put a negative in quadrant 1.
No can do.
So it's got to be quadrant 2. The sine, or cosine, excuse me, this cosine is negative root 3 over 2, which means that's a 1. Right? Which means this angle is how big? 30. That is not the answer. This is the answer. You got to get into quadrant 2.
150.
150 is the answer to the problem.
So why is that 45? I understand it's how that 150, but like,
1 root 2.
no, I'm saying, why is that cosine?
Because you're going from here to the angle. Here's the angle.
Okay.
Here, the angle is clear over here. I gotta get all the way around to it. Alright, now I'm finding the tangent of 3 pi over 2. Some of you were asking questions about this kind. What do I do with 3 pi over 2? 90 times 3 is 270. Oh man, 270. This is not music to my ears. Why am I not real excited about 270? It's on the line. So when it's on the line, I gotta figure out what that point is. What is that point down there? 0, negative 1. So x is 0, y is negative 1, and r is positive 1. What is tangent? Y over x. So I'm doing y over x, and that will be, whoops, negative 1 over 0, which is undefined. So the answer to C is undefined. Yep.
On the test, will you, do we have to memorize what tangent is, what all those are, like y over x or x over y?
Yeah, that was the very first thing we did. Remember, it was on your sheet.
Yeah.
You had to memorize it. Remember that gold sheet? Yeah, absolutely. Sine 5 pi over 6. All right. What do we do? So it's going to be the sine of 150. Everybody okay with that? Pi divided by 6 is 30 times 5 is 150. So now I'll draw that one. That one's not as bad. Or maybe you like the ones on the circle. I don't know. 150's over here. So how big is this guy right here? This is 150. So this angle would be what? 30? Everybody okay with 30? So 1, 2, root 3. Negative on the root 3. Very, very good. You want sine? Opposite over hypotenuse. 1/2. Right, kids? Alright, okay, here we go. Cosine 7 pi over 4. Same thing. Change 7 pi over 4 into degrees for me. What are we doing in problem? Cosine what? 180 divided by 4 is 45. 315. We're finding the cosine of 315. 180 divided by 4 is 45 times 7 is 315. So here we go again. Same thing. All of these guys are done the same way. So 315 is clear over here, right? butterfly bow tie it, how big is your reference angle here going to be? 45. We have 1 root 2. John, anything negative in that picture? I said John. Thank you for being excited, John. This one is negative, right? Because it's going down. Morgan, are you okay? What's the matter?
Why is that 45?
315.
Why is that 45? This is 315 and that's 360. How far is it to get from 315 to 360?
How come you didn't do so the half circle can be up or down?
Yeah.
No. Because this problem has this notation in it. That's the difference. This is what has the rules. Only problems that have that notation. If you don't have that notation, then no, that doesn't have anything to do with it.
So if there's no -1 exponent, there's no half circle exponent.
No, right, that's correct.
I don't know if I'm thinking of this wrong, but when would the angle, would it ever be like negative?
Not when you're doing a problem like this. It can be negative when you have this notation with the sine and the tangent. Because the sine and the tangent, you have to go into quadrant 4 and go down.
Oh, okay, but like the angle itself would never
Never.
be? Okay.
Never. All right, I haven't answered this question yet. What's cosine?
1 root 2 over 2.
Yep, it's -1 over root 2, which is negative root 2 over 2 when you rationalize it. And one more of these, I told you there's several on the test, so we want to make sure we know how to do them.
Would that be
180.
Oh, cosine positive, yes, Robbie, thank you. Cosine is positive because
I said it.
it's adjacent. I'll take the blame. It's adjacent over hypotenuse. That would be positive.
Good
The
job,
sine would be negative. Right?
job.
The sine would be negative, but the cosine is positive.
Hawkeyes.
Thank you, Robbie, for not just nodding and going on. Right, Joseph?
Yeah.
All right, engage, so you can catch my next mistake, okay? Cosecant, 7 pi over 6, here we go, what is it?
210.
210, thank you. So I'm gonna draw 210, here we go. 210 is gonna be down here. How big is the angle? 30. 1 root 3, 2. Any negatives there?
-1.
-1, negative root 3. Now now be careful. I want the cosecant.
Hypotenuse over opposite.
Hypotenuse over opposite. How do we know it's hypotenuse over opposite? That's correct. How do we know that? It's the reciprocal of the sine. It's the reciprocal of the sine. So the answer is, well, let's see. Hypotenuse over opposite would be -2 over 1 or -2. It's 2 over -1, but remember you can put the negative wherever you want it. So it's -2. Everybody good? Big section, gotta remember how to do those. All right, here we go. In which quadrant is the secant negative? So we want secant to be less than 0, that means negative. And we want the tangent to be less than 0, that means negative. So we want them both to be negative. Now, clearly, if they're both negative, we're not even going to look in quadrant 1, right? Because what happens in quadrant 1? Everything's positive, right? Now over here, if you built a butterfly bow tie over here, this would be a positive number and that would be a negative number. And the radius would be positive, always. Would this give me a negative secant and a negative tangent? Now, what's secant? Reciprocal of cosine. So this would be hypotenuse over adjacent. if you put hypotenuse over adjacent, would that be negative? Hypotenuse over adjacent, would that be negative? What about if you put opposite over adjacent? That's tangent. Opposite over adjacent, would that be negative? Here's your answer, right there. There's only one quadrant where it's going to happen, and we happen to find it right off
So
the
it's
bat.
never going to be more than one.
Never more than one
Okay.
in a problem like this. Okay? Right now we're sketching. So what we need to remember is what the sketches look like. Which one's that? That's sine. This one is cosine. Everybody knows that. Yeah, I hope so. And this one is the tangent. Right? So I'm graphing, number one, I'm graphing a sine. So I'm just going to start off, I'm going to graph my sine. Now you get a point for that. Okay? And then the rest of your points are going to come from correctly labeling the axes. This one is easy. What goes here? 2. Because in the equation, it's 2 sine 1/3 x, and this number tells me how high and low to go. That means my amplitude is 2. Please don't get these confused. Amplitude is height. Period is length. They're alphabetical. A comes before P, and H comes before L. Okay? That was mine. All right? Now, what about the period? How do I figure out what these labels are?
360. What about 3?
Normally they're 90, 180, 270, and 360. But what have I done?
Times 3.
I've divided by a third. A third. I've divided by a third. So 360 divided by a third is 360 times 3, which is 1080, 540, 270, and 810. You guys okay with that? All right. Now I've got a tangent. Oh, wait a second. What's my period? I never filled that in. My height was 2. What's my length? 1080. Very good. Degrees. All right, now I'm graphing 2 tan x. 2 tan x. So I know what a tangent looks like. Now, what about amplitude for this guy? What about labels on the y-axis for this guy? None. There aren't any. So when you say amplitude, you say none. Sounds like a cheer. When I say amplitude, you say none. Ah. There we go. Got my plug in for the cheerleaders. Okay. Now, what about these labels? What are they supposed to be?
90 and negative 90.
Yep, 90 and negative 90. What about this problem? This is the number that changes them. Did I put a number in there?
It's tan 2x.
Oh, is it 2x? Oh, I put the 2 in the wrong spot. Mistakes today. So, that's going to divide by 2. So that would be negative 45 and 45. Is that okay? Now, be careful, be careful. The period is from here to here. It's the length that you drew. And how far did you draw from here to here? 90. So the period is 90. One more. Then we'll go to our calculator. All right, so now we're going to do our cosine. trying to get it copied, right? Okay. Uh-oh, what do you notice about this cosine?
Negative.
It's negative, which means I'll use that picture, but I will turn it upside down. So it's going to look like this.
Oh, no.
Marley, Morgan. So my amplitude is what? What's my height?
1/2.
1/2. Good. That's your amplitude. It's your height. 1/2. Now, what's my period supposed to be? What's this supposed to be? 360? But what did I do? I put a 2 out here. Divide. So this is going to be 180. And it's going to divide all the rest of them also, right? So we'll have 45, 90, and 135. Everything got divided by 2. Which means my period, that is from here to here, is 180 degrees. All right, let's get through this calculator section and then you can go to lunch, okay? So here we go. Convert to degrees, minutes, seconds. Everybody who brought a calculator, please get it out today. I have no idea how your calculator is set. I went to mode and made sure mine was in degrees. You might want to do the same thing. Okay? Now, can somebody tell me what buttons I pressed to change 128.735 into degrees, minutes, seconds? Well, I got to get to DMS, but how do I get to DMS? Second apps, down there to number 4. And did you get 128 degrees, 44 minutes, and 6 seconds?
Yep.
So that's what you write down. That's the end of that problem, and you move on. Everybody good? This is like, speak now or forever hold your peace, people. All right, now we're going to find the cotangent of 311. I cannot do that because I don't have a cotangent button. 1/. So I type into my calculator 1 divided by tangent 311. The cotangent is 1 divided by tangent. So 1 divided by tangent 311 would be what? Now, pay attention, the directions tell you 10,000. That's going to be negative 0.8693. Got it?
Do you want us to round to 0.87 or?
No, the directions say 10,000. Okay? And remember, what does the test look like? Exactly like the practice test, right? Okay, how about B? How do I put that into my calculator? No, you don't have to do anything with this one. This one's asking for an angle. So you just hit second sine, 0.514, and it will give you 30.9306 degrees. 30.9306 degrees. Remember, when you use your special button, it means your answer is going to be an angle. Quincy?
How is it calculating that? Like, what is it calculating?
The trigonometric ratios are fixed. There's a table of trigonometric ratios, and it's all programmed in that little chip. So what it does is it goes through, you know how, we'll look at a triangle, and we'll say, what was this, sine problem or tangent problem? Sine. And we'll say the sine of this angle is 3/4. Now, it will go through that entire table until it finds the number 3/4, and then it pairs it up with that angle. Okay? The calculator's amazing. All right, C. Do not do C. We're going to do C in a minute. We're coming back to it. Why do I want to come back to it? It's a radian, and I want to just change one time. I don't want to be flip-flopping back and forth. So I'm going to skip that for a moment. I'm going to go to D. How do I put D into my calculator? Well, first I hit sign, and then I do 52 second apps degrees, 11 second apps minutes, and 12 second, oh no, not second apps. How do I get those seconds? Alpha plus. Whoops. Alpha plus. Did you get 0.7900? 0.7900. How about E? Skip it. No degree mark. Hang on to it. We're coming back to it. E we're coming back to. Let's do F. Tangent, 153 second apps degrees, 17 second apps minutes, negative 0.5033. Is that what you got?
Yeah.
Negative 0.5033 for F. Trey? Okay, press tangent. You gotta figure it out? Okay. Now, I'm gonna go to lunch in a minute. We're gonna change our calculators into radians. You know how to do that. Go to mode, highlight radians. Now you're gonna type in exactly what it says. So you're gonna type tangent, 18 pi. Everybody find your pi button? It's over under clear. Right under clear is the pi button. See it? So 18 pi divided by 17, 0.1869. The answer to this one's 0.1869. Is that what you got? Everybody getting that? And then the last one, just press cosine, 1.3. 0.2675. Everybody okay? Emily.
So for when you have to like switch your calculator to the radian mode, is it whenever it doesn't have a degree and then if it has pi in it like that?
Well, but the pi one doesn't have a degree, so it's easier just to remember if there's no degree.
Okay.
You said 0.2675 for E?
Can't remember. 2675. Yep. 0.2675.
Okay.
Got it?
Yeah, I didn't know you had to be on radian for that one.
Oh, you do, because there's no degree mark. Right? All right, let me see what I need to back. Let's see that. 1223. Everybody remember that? 1223. Everybody's back. Chris, would you turn that off? We don't need the videotape.